Nightflyers is a new science fiction horror series that has appeared on Netflix. It's from George R.R. Martin, who brought you Game of Thrones, and I think this is the second or third adaptation of his story, The Nightflyer. It's a series that's sort of difficult to place in that it's got elements of lots of other sci-fi films or sci-fi horror films all mushed in together, and I know that the story was created prior to some of these films being made, but ultimately, because they got there first and are in the pop culture psyche more than the original story from George R.R. Martin, they'll always be there to be judged against. Ones that immediately pop out are Event Horizon, The Shining, 2001, and even the Dead Space video game series. It's a very slow to start show. You feel like you are wading through quite a bit of, I don't know, it's hard to describe because things are happening. You're wading through quite a bit of sort of treacle trying to get there. You know, it's all good stuff you're getting put down to watch, but it's just quite heavy and it never feels like it's got any sort of pace to it. At least that's what I felt anyway. It stars a cast that, again, is uneven. There's a British character who is essentially a Jack O'Connell clone, if you know the actor Jack O'Connell. He is playing him. And he's meant to be psychic and he's got these abilities. He's fine, but he just seems a bit over the top with how he is. Some of the other characters in it, there's biologists and botanists and things like that. They're all fine to a degree, but you always got this feeling that they're on this spaceship with loads of other crew members, and only a few seem to be affected by the things going on. And these are things that should affect everyone ship-wide, but they have scenes in like a lunch hall where there's just other people you've never seen or heard from in the background, just going about their business as if nothing crazy is happening. And there's crazy stuff happening on this ship that they should all be aware of, just as general sort of protocol, you know, would determine on a ship like this. So that sort of throws you out a little bit. And it's also confusing how many people are actually on the ship. It may have been stated at the start, but it's not made clear to the viewer when they're trying to take everything else in, and it just gives you something to think about that you shouldn't necessarily have to think about. The ship design itself borrows from, again, Event Horizon in 2001, and also from Silent Running, where it's got these little pods on the end of it with nature habitats or biodomes on there. I'm sure that and even the Lost in Space movie, the design of the ship is similar to the one from the original Lost in Space film with Matt LeBlanc and that in it. The other thing that grated on it was it's one of these shows that starts with an event that happens in the future to sort of get you excited and grab you. You see a person killing crew members after having obviously gone insane, and then it flashes back to the start of the trip and everyone's fine and dandy, but you know who's going to go insane, so there's no tension in guessing what's going to happen or who at least is going to be left to be killed or be the killer, at least up to a point. So it seemed a bit of a silly choice, and it might well be that they put that in because when they tested it they realised that up to the point where stuff starts happening it's quite a slog, and they needed something to keep people viewing and to keep people's interest. And sorry, just listening to things that sort of took me out of this. They use paper on a spaceship. Paper is a finite resource, and they got people like crayoning in and drawing stuff on paper, people writing in journals and notebooks. It's just, I know it's a production niggle, but it's, you know, it sticks with you. Why would they not just all have tablets? Then you're not going to waste all this time and energy and fuel, you know, taking what must be reams of paper and books away with people on this trip. There we go. Oh, and the plot, by the way, is that they're on a ship to go and try and find extraterrestrial life to try and save the Earth. On the plus side, though, everyone's got really good costumes. I like the way everyone was dressed and looked in the series. Ultimately, it is a kind of series that I like. It's like I say, it's just a slog to get through, but I'm happy that any new content in this respect is being made. And you know, ultimately, I'd say I enjoyed it more than I disliked it. It's just after having seen some series like that Umbrella Academy that do move at a good pace and manage to get across a lot of information and keep your interest throughout, you know, you can see the differences in some of these things. That said, there's obviously a lot of money gone on the screen to deal with this series, so you know, whether there'll be a sequel or not to it, or whether it's even possible, depending on how George R.R. Martin is and things like that, I'm not sure, but I was happy with what I saw for the most part on it. But like I say, you've got to stick with it, you know, it is a slog, and if you don't want to slog through it, there are other things you can watch that you can get the same sort of payoff with. Watch a movie, one of the ones I mentioned earlier, and you'll be just as satisfied. So Nightflyers, okay at best, but not a great series.